What is up, y'all? Here I am out on my lovely porch in my Christmas sweater. I hope that the sound in the background won't be too much. We do get a car that drives down this road every few minutes, maybe every 10-20 minutes. So hopefully we're done. All right. So I have an article today from NPR. Infertile people, gay and trans couples yearn for progress on lab-made eggs and sperm. This is a crazy article. I did not know that they were even working on this technology, so I was surprised to find it, but apparently it's been in the works for quite a while. So the article starts out trying to pull on your heartstrings with a couple, Paul, who's 39, Diana, who's 41, and it talks about the fact that they have been trying to have a baby for 10 years, and they were both found to be infertile. Okay, I hope the background noise isn't too loud. If it is, I might have to actually go inside, which I hate to do. I would have to restart the whole live stream. So anyways, it talks about the fact that they both found out they were infertile, and they went through surgeries, fertility treatments, sought the help of 7 different fertility clinics, tried IVF multiple times, they made embryos, and eventually they finally found themselves to be pregnant this summer. And then it talks about how Diana had a miscarriage, and she says, and I thought this part was really telling, she says, quote, it felt like a death. And I thought that was interesting because obviously a miscarriage is a death, and this just kind of shows like the disconnection between people's soul, the creation of children, and like the scientific community and how things are looked at, because obviously, no offense to anybody, but you are going to see things a little bit differently when a baby's conceived, say like in a dish as an embryo and then implanted. If y'all could tell me if that sound in the background is too loud, if it's picking it up a lot, I'm going to go ahead and restart. Somebody please let me know if it's distracting. Someone said that those bangs though. Thank you. All right, well, I'll just continue on. Hopefully it's not too bad. It's so hard to find a really good spot to do these because I like to be outside or in my car. My phone is always either shutting off, overheating, or there's noise in the background. You said happy holidays. Thank you. Okay, so basically they ended up having a miscarriage, and then they talk about how great it would be to have a biological child that shared both of their genetics, and how they would really like this treatment if it became available to them. So then in order to kind of get all the demographics involved, they go on to talk about a lesbian couple who would like to have a baby that's biologically both of theirs. They have been looking at just using a sperm donor, but they highlight the fact that they would be very excited about this treatment because they aren't able to have a baby the old-fashioned way together. And then the final story, the final couple that is supposed to really pull on your heartstrings, and it did for me. This one was pretty upsetting, but not in the way that the article wanted it to be. They had a trans couple, Brenda, 23, who is a trans woman, and Amber, 24, who is a biological woman and this person's partner. The article says that they have been together for 9 years and that they were not able to have a baby because Brenda is a trans woman, and so obviously now does not produce any sperm. So again, they were either looking at using a sperm donor, but the saddest quote in this entire article was from Amber, who said, "I love Brenda and I want more of her." And I thought this was really sad because this is a couple who you know, they were obviously a boy and a girl who went to high school together, like a high school, well, I don't know that they went to high school together, but had been together long enough that they would have been like high school type of sweethearts. And they obviously at 23, 24 could have been just having a baby the natural way, but because one of them had been somehow, you know, convinced in their mind that they were transgendered, and then that was affirmed by doctors, who, I say doctors because I feel like that word is supposed to mean healing, and these people are doing nothing of the sort. So these doctors obviously affirmed this person's desire to change genders. And now because of that, the ultimate tragedy is that this young couple who have loved each other for 9 years, a male and a female, now cannot produce a baby together because one of them has gone ahead and it sounds like undergone these gender changing either surgeries or hormones or puberty blockers. Not sure, but what we do know is that this couple who could have had a baby just the natural way now cannot produce one because one of them was convinced to be transgender. So because of that, they talked about they would be excited to be able to use this technology. So what is the technology? This technology is called in vitro gametogenesis. And what they're doing is actually creating an egg cell, an oocyte or a sperm, using a somatic cell. So a somatic cell is not a gamete cell. It's not, you know, obviously supposed to go on to create a baby or another person. It's just like a skin cell, a kidney cell, a liver cell, any cell in your body. And the reason that I chose this title is just to kind of make fun of the fact that they are actually using and wanting to use skin cells for this in the form of like a punch biopsy, that then they would take that sample and use that to create these oocytes or these sperm cells that would then actually go on to become a human being. So I just kind of made fun of it and said that they could use the skin of your armpit basically to make another person, and how absurd that is. So this is not actually a new technology. Like I said, they've been perfecting this for years in Japan. They've been doing it with mice, and I found an article linked to this article from 2012 where they had created mice pups using this technology, and it says that they've also used it to create primitive human eggs using this technology. So they are well on their way to trying to use it in humans. Apparently they don't think it will necessarily be ready and for 5 to 10 years, and there's a lot of concern about it. So they did actually quote a couple of, you know, experts or people in the field who had some different concerns, which I'll talk about. So some of them were saying, you know, there could be some unintended consequences, and there was different scientists and people. I think one of them was from Harvard. I didn't, you know, write down their titles or take too many quotes today. We're just going to keep this brief. But basically, one of them said that they felt they had to put like a political spin on this, that conservative states might not recognize the rights of these parents because of the way that the babies were created. Another one had cited the fact that this could be used to make designer babies, which, you know, designer babies sounds bad, but if you use the real word that they should have used, it would sound even worse, and that word is eugenics. So basically this could be used for eugenics. They want you to think, oh, there's an ethical dilemma here, but they don't want to really let you know how bad the ethical dilemma is. So they use the term designer babies instead of saying literally what it is, which would be eugenics. They also, you know, along these same lines, said that they could be using this to make unlimited embryos, and that this would further discrimination against disabled people. So that's obviously, you know, something that they will probably do. Same thing, it could not even just be disabilities. It could be also any embryos that were going to have, you know, genetic predispositions to cancers, heart problems, different issues, you know, all of those could be done away with. So the way that they do this is it says they use 46XX or 46XY somatic cells to make the oocyte or the sperm. And they call this non-gamete dependent reproduction. So it's pretty crazy. One reason that they talked about investigating this all the way back in that 2012 article was for fertility preservation for like people with cancers. I guess before they hit puberty, there can be an issue with fertility, and so they would use it for that to like preserve their ability to have children and everything. So it's kind of wild. Again, I think the big take home of this has to do with, the fact that they want to continue to do transgendered surgeries. They want to continue to further the agenda that, you don't necessarily have to just reproduce your own children. If we do make you trans, no big deal. We'll just go ahead and take some of your skin cells and then we'll create you, a sperm or an egg, they'll make you, okay, so in that case, the person already would have had sperm and then they're going to go ahead and make them sperm that they would have already had that they destroyed by giving them these gender reassignment procedures or medicines. And in other cases, I guess they could even maybe do the opposite. I'm not sure. That's one thing that it didn't really explain is if, and I would assume maybe they can't, like, could they take my arm cell and make a sperm with it? I wouldn't think, well, I guess they could because that's how they were going to help the lesbian couple in the middle. And then, they want you to know too, if your fertility is destroyed through lifestyle issues, things like that, like not to worry because science is going to help you out there. So my thoughts on all this, especially if we go back to the very first couple, and this take might offend a lot of people, but I'm going to say it anyways. So if we go back to the first couple, we could have done a lot of different things for them aside from just like pump this woman full of hormones over and over in order to help her try to get pregnant or be able to have a baby after they had, done the embryos, made the embryo transfer and everything. What they could have done, which I think would have been a lot better, would be to entirely change this woman's lifestyle to make her a lot healthier. So get her on a good diet, get her on a good workout regimen, get her out in the sun, get her vitamins supplemented, do all the things that are going to make her body as healthy as possible and the man too, and then go from there. They still obviously, even if this worked, she was having trouble carrying a baby and not having a miscarriage. When you do like IVF and stuff, there's a whole lot of hormonal injections that go into that and everything as well. So even if they created a sperm, created an egg, like would that mean she could actually carry a pregnancy? We don't even know. So then it sets it up for, do they also need a surrogate or something? So if I was that couple, I would have probably went to look at adoption a long time ago and found a home for a child in need. We have parents with love. It's a man and a woman who want to have a baby and they're not able to. I would think the best route to go there would be to find a child who wants parents and doesn't have any. And that type of action is going to make the world a better place. What they're doing now only enriched doctors and left them with no baby. It left all those babies, think about the cost of fertility treatments here. To do these fertility treatments, that is a ton of money, okay? They probably spent if they did 7 times, which I think it was trying to say something like 7 times these fertility treatments, that would be, I think it's at least $10,000 a pop or more. So let's say $100,000. Even if you adopt a baby, you could adopt like 2 babies internationally, something like that, for $50,000 each. It's very expensive and costly, but they could have, given 2 children who are already on this earth a home. When it comes to the lesbian couple, they obviously have a very easy way that they could, can still conceive a baby that's at least a lot more natural, which would be sperm donation. So they could do something like that. I'm not saying I agree with really any fertility treatments, because I'm kind of just, I think that a lot of them are kind of playing God, but that is an option for them there. When it comes to the transgender people, I think that that's the biggest tragedy that is in this story, because they obviously are just a young couple who have been together since high school, and biologically we have a man and a woman, and if left undisturbed by doctors and the medical community, they would have been conceiving a baby naturally by now on their own, likely no issues there. So but that's my story for today. I thought it was pretty interesting. I think it's disturbing too, because of the lengths that we go to play God and to try to, control things that we shouldn't be able to control, or change them in ways that we probably shouldn't try to change them. Nature knows what it wants, and we don't know the outcomes of this. It's really wrong, in my opinion, to not know what you're creating when you create a human life. Some mice pups are a lot different than a person, and I'm not saying animals don't have souls, but we really don't know, because we really can't talk to them, ask them, or even really communicate with them the way that we can other people. So I think it's highly irresponsible what science is trying to do. Just go ahead and wave, and I hope y'all were right and that the sound is okay. I know somebody had chimed in and said that it wasn't bad. But when we look at other things that we see going on, there is a lot of controversy right now over, the use of surrogacy. I don't necessarily agree with surrogacy, because I do know what it's like to carry a baby, have a baby, and understand all the hormones, and not just the hormones, but also the natural instincts that come with being a mother to an infant, and how important that is. So I don't really agree with disrupting that bond, or inserting someone else's egg and sperm into a woman so she can create a baby that then she hands off to somebody else. I think that that's, again, being kind of irresponsible with human life. There's a lot of people talking about this over on Twitter right now, because I think there's been 2 recent gay couples who have used surrogacy to create children. And here's what I'm going to say, and people are going to get mad about this, and this is my controversial take for the day, but there are a lot of different reasons why people get married. People don't always get married just because of physical attraction, or I don't know how to say it, love, and then bedroom compatibility there. People get married for lots of different reasons, and and historically they always have. We used to have arranged marriages. We would have people get married for alliances. You would marry certain people as a woman for stability. And same thing, a lot of people, say an older man who wants to have children, but he didn't yet, he's likely going to marry a younger woman so she can still produce children. So here's what I'm going to say. If having children is a number one thing to somebody, as far as what is on their list, as far as, as part of their marriage, part of their life, then I would say that the most intelligent, responsible thing to do would be to marry someone you can have children with, instead of someone who that you can't have children with, and then expect to change the laws of nature to suit what you want anyways. So, people can always make that choice to marry somebody of the opposite sex. They can always make that choice to marry someone who is, younger and fertile. And they can always make those choices, and that way they can naturally produce children. If that's not high on your list, or even if it is, children are high on your list, there are other things that you can do. So say me, for instance, I am 37. I have a son. I would love more children. But would I, get a surrogate and put a baby and a woman through that, no matter how much money I had, just to get myself another child, say in 5 years or something, when I can't have any more children? No, I wouldn't do that, because that, to me, it kind of goes against everything that I believe. So if I wanted more children, and because I love children, I would have two options. Number one, I could adopt children, especially from foster care, children who really need a home, and give them a stable home. Or I could marry a man who also has children, and we can have a blended family, and I'll still get to love those children, and I'll still get to, be a part of it when they have children. So it'd be like having step grandchildren. There are so many ways to do it without just thinking that you're going to defy the laws of nature and use science to create whatever you want and not worry about the impact on the individual you're creating or the lives around you. So that's what I have to say about that. I hope you all like this video. If you did, please check out my page. I'm going to be doing these science health news articles pretty much every day, Monday through Friday. I'm going to be reposting this to YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube on the replay, thank you so much for watching. Please go ahead and hit like. Please go ahead and hit subscribe. And feel free to comment with any news articles that you would like me to talk about, or send me a DM over on Instagram. But you all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. And if you didn't like my controversial takes, please tell me in the comments how much you didn't like them and why. But again, I hope you all have a beautiful day, and I will be back soon.